Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. On today's episode of me talking about 7 things, I'm going to be going over episode 2 of Shipwrecked. Now before I continue, please check out the links in the description below. I highly recommend the surveys, especially the 35-day one. Now onto the episode. Dani is still reeling after her jellyfish sting. Jamie then begins not feeling well. And later that night, we see that he's still feeling ill and he doesn't want to drink any water because even the thought of water makes him nauseous. And he's really worried because on Last One Standing Season 3, he had to be med-tabbed due to heat stroke, so we shall see what happens later on. On day 3, with Malou, Darrin, and Annalise, the team works together on their shelter, and Darrin takes the lead on the build, even though he didn't really want to make an elaborate shelter, but he's willing to do it for Annalise and Malou's comfort. There is some friction between Annalise and Darrin. Malou takes note of the weird energy between them, and Darrin and Annalise are going back and forth about how to make the roof for the shelter, and Annalise feels unheard. Malou is on Darrin's side and wants to do what he wants and is appreciative he's on their team. Darrin complains about working hard to make the shelter for his teammates' comfort. Annalise gets irritated when Darrin wants to adapt her method of roof making, and she says he could have done it before, and she also talks about her back hurting. Darrin and Annalise continue to bicker, and Annalise is letting her irritation be known, and Malou is living for the drama, and I am living for Malou's commentary. Sean, Patrick, and Allison. Sean is gathering materials for a fish basket. The team has been eating snails for the last few days, and Sean wants to get a fish basket together to get some better sources of protein, and Patrick wants to explore. The group decide to check out a structure in the interior of the island, and they have to climb a mountain to get there. Patrick talks about how his teammates slow him down and he's more of a lone wolf. He's very go, 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 while the others want to take their time. And Patrick wants to split up while the other two want to stay together, and they eventually split up. Patrick goes off on his own to try to find the structure while the other two follow some board tracks, and there seems to be a lot of emphasis on Patrick being the team leader, but Patrick and Darrin are the only ones who have mentioned being a team leader, as has Sean and I think Allison, and I don't know if the survivalists were told they were going to be team leaders, but this group is so much emphasis on a team leader, and it is getting annoying. It's also perfectly acceptable to split up chores and you don't have to be together all the time. With Patrick not having the map, he's unable to navigate to the structure. He decides to wait for Sean and Allison back at camp while the other two are continuing to follow the pig tracks, and it gets a little bit too treacherous and they decide to go back to camp. Patrick and Sean bicker about the map and Allison is stuck in the middle. That night, Sean talks about being hungry and frustrated. Adam, Amanda, and Johnny, the team works on their shelter. They all work well together. They also work on ways to make their time more comfortable, like making a path on the sharp rocks, using smoother rocks that they can walk on so they don't cut up their feet, and making a bed frame. Adam and Johnny decide to try and find a place to make a seep well. Johnny digs a hole and it fills with water, so it'll be easier for them to get fresh water without boiling it. That night, they are relaxing in the beds that Amanda made. They hear a rat and Adam manages to catch one to eat. Dani, Jamie, and Jarrell. Jamie needs to take it easy and rest since he's still not feeling well. Dani is still in pain from her jellyfish sting, and Jarrell wants to help out his teammates by getting food. Jarrell goes fishing with the sling spear, and he eventually spots a sea snake and swims away as fast as he can, and he decides that he is done with fishing for the time being. After a little bit, Jarrell decides to get back in the water to try to fish. He manages to get about 5 fish for him and Jamie to eat because Dani is a vegetarian, and that night they notice the rising tide and the team have to move their shelter location tomorrow, and Jarrell mentions the Lost Coast a lot. Day 4, Malou, Darrin, and Annalise. Darrin wants to hurry up with the roof because he realizes it may rain soon. Darrin and Malou are working hard on the roof, but Annalise doesn't seem to be doing as much as the other two. Annalise manages to catch a gecko, but Darrin doesn't want to eat it, and he wants to finish the roof, and Annalise lets the gecko go. Annalise and Darrin bicker some more, and Annalise gets really upset. Malou is stuck in the middle and has to try and help mitigate the annoyance between the two. Malou tries to play peacemaker after citing the weird tension between the two, and she decides to have a sit down with everybody so that Annalise and Darrin can talk it out. And they do seem to talk it out and come to an understanding, which is good. And that night it rains and the group are in the shelter. Sean, Patrick, and Allison. The team works on their shelter since the rain is coming soon. Allison doesn't want to be wet and cold like her last challenge, so she really wants a good shelter with a good roof to protect from the rain. Allison and Patrick find part of a boat that could potentially be used for a roof. Allison is hesitant to use it, but Patrick wants to use it, so the three of them go and carry the part of the boat back to their shelter to make part of their shelter. There is a lot of nails sticking out of it. That night, it begins to rain, and they are all irritated by the rain. Adam, Amanda, and Johnny. The team process, cook, and eat the rat Adam caught. Johnny begins not feeling well, and that night, Johnny finds it hard to sleep. Dani, Jamie, and Jarrell. The team realize the rain is coming, and with the tide coming up, they decide to move camps. Dani's arm is still a little sore from the jellyfish sting, so she's worried about using it too much and doesn't want to injure it any more than it already is. They find a good spot and begin working on their third shelter. They bring their old shelter to the new spot, and Jamie mentions needing to get a lot of firewood, and he gets the fire going. Dani and Jarrell get materials for the roof. After the storm passes, the fire goes out. Day 5, Malou, Darrin, and Annalise. The group had a rough night, but the shelter is good and they can focus on other tasks now. Darrin goes to get some water despite the long trek. Sean, Patrick, and Allison, they did not sleep well. Patrick wants to go looking for the structure again, and he finds another route, and Allison decides to go with him. Sean decides to stay back to work on his fish basket. The hike Patrick and Allison are doing is treacherous. They find some man-made materials and tools and gather what they can. Sean has to build the fire back up to boil water before he can work on his fish trap because Patrick was saying it'd be nice to have some water waiting for them when they get back because it's a long trek and whatnot. And the fire gets to be too big, and Sean decides to remove the boat part of the roof so it doesn't catch on fire, and he's getting more and more irritated. The hunger must really be affecting him, but I don't know why he's getting really snippy right off the bat. This is very weird energy. Patrick and Allison return to camp with their gathered materials. Sean says that he is not a nice Canadian right now. Patrick and Allison are confused as to why the roof is off their shelter, and everyone begins fighting with one another. It's mainly Patrick and Allison versus Sean, and very confusing arguments. I don't understand. Adam, Amanda, and Johnny, they talk about how their shelter is good. Johnny didn't sleep well at all. The team decide to explore to look for resources, and they find some coconuts. Johnny is still not feeling well. The medic comes in to assess his situation. His blood pressure is above normal. His blood pressure coming in was normal, but now it's high, which is what is told to us by the producer, and we're not really getting a narration as to what may be happening or what could happen if his blood pressure remains high. It's just kind of the producer says that his blood pressure was normal, but now it's high, and the medic says he needs to rest and drink water, and Mandy's crying in the shelter already, so also very weird situation. And Johnny is told to rest and drink water, and he'll be monitored, and he may have to be med-tapped from the challenge. And Dani, Jamie, and Jarrell, the team talk about the fire going out and needing a lot of firewood. And that's the end of the episode. It kind of ends with the argument between Patrick, Sean, and Allison. There have only been a handful of days in 2 episodes, and there are 8 episodes total, I think. So that means that some tap outs are coming soon, and we need to get as much storyline from the people tapping out as possible. So who will be tapping out? I don't know. But yeah, there's a lot of weirdness happening. Annalise, her energy is kind of weird. Sean and his energy is kind of weird. And the Johnny situation is a little weird. I thought we'd get a little bit more narration on that, but I don't know. It's all very weird. I don't understand. Anyway, number of days after day 5, Darrin has 120, Dani has 119, Patrick has 115, Adam has 66, Jamie has 60, Amanda has 40, Allison, Annalise, Jarrell, Johnny, and Sean have 26, and Malou has 22. Episode 3, Snake Island Bites Back. Darrin leads a water pipeline build. Patrick calls out his partners. Adam squares off with a deadly viper. Dani scores a potential food win. In the dead of night, Jarrell's fire blazes out of control. A survivalist must be medically evacuated. Dun dun dun. Thank you all so much for listening. Please like, comment nice things, and subscribe, and I hope you all have a wonderful day. Thank you. Bye-bye.